Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our coverage of the ongoing war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. We are now in day 137 of the ongoing conflict. And before I start the video, OBS has done a update. I'm still trying to navigate my way around the newest version of OBS, as it is so user friendly for those of you who use OBS. Would love some possible pointers if there's anyone out there having issues with the new update. So if there's any strange happenings as we continue to watch the video, I'm going to switch screens here over to the deep state. See if that's switched. Maybe you can tell me. Yep, looks like it did. And we're going to continue on with the GFSS SIS map in terms of today's video. So the big question haunting Western Europe, especially Germany, as we watch the ongoing war take place, is what is going to happen eventually if Russia turns off the natural gas into Germany. And there's several articles making their way around, obviously addressing Germany's concern about the possibility that Russia could simply turn off the spigot, and a lot of folks in Germany could be very, very cold come the coming winter. Winter is coming, so to speak. But in terms of the ongoing conflict, we are continuing to see the pressure campaign of Russia forces. If you look at this map and other maps available that shows the kind of disposition of the territorial gains of Russian forces, and most importantly, the current situation of the map, especially in terms of how the Ukrainians are going about defending Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Bakhmut, and the eastern Donbass from this continued Russian attack. And specifically, as we know, the Ukrainians have set up a multitude of defensive lines, both to the north, east, and in all probability to the west as well, around Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. They have turned these two towns into fortress cities, the same as Bakhmut and other areas as well. It looks like the Russians are continuing its pressure campaign towards Seversk, and we anticipate that at some point the Russians will take Seversk fairly soon. And to make matters worse, the Ukrainians are facing both an attack towards Sloviansk down the main arterial route that connects Sloviansk with Bakhmut. They are being attacked from the north-northwest. At the same time, they are continuing to press from east to west as well. And if you look at the map, and we'll go over to the deep state map, it gives you a little bit better idea of what things are looking at or looking like. Very, very difficult situation for the Ukrainian military. Now, obviously, we haven't seen as of yet the Russians cross en masse over the what would be, I guess, the northeastern boundary of the Donets River. A lot of this area here, you're not seeing the Russians push up because of Ukrainian defensive lines covering the Donets River. And you can see here the Donets runs along this way. You can see where they have made attempts to cross these areas. We can only assume that the bridges have been destroyed over the Donets River in most of these locales. But the big issue right now is the Russians are going to roll up the western bank of the Donets River coming from Lysychansk west. And at the same time, they're going to be kind of doing the same thing on the western bank as well, from coming down through Izum towards Sloviansk, but at the same time, as they continue to take territory which covers the east-west bank of the Donets River, Russian forces will then be able to cross unmolested. And I would imagine that Russian forces, as opposed to conducting a forced river crossing over the Donets, especially in these areas here, they're going to probably, in all likelihood, wait until the Russians press forward, seize control of Seversk, and then cross the Donets River. And at a certain point, I would imagine that these lines will press all the way up towards just about the M3 highway. And the problem is as the Russians continue to attack towards Seversk, down towards Sloviansk, and in the south, from south to kind of northwest towards Bakhmut, it is just not a good situation if you are the Ukrainian military. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the warfighters, the battlefield commanders that are operating in this area, and it is a tough situation. Obviously, the Donets River really has kind of forestalled some, I believe, major Russian advances in this conflict. But once these lines are pushed west, and the Russians are able to cross, especially here, just south of Lyman at this, what is this? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Zakitne, and I would just end up butchering it. But once this line is pushed forward, Seversk is seized, and the Russians are able to cross here as well, and they're able to deploy battalion tactical groups from Lyman south and have stable bridgeheads over the Donets River in this locale. Let's do this here real quick. We'll try and change. No, that's not it. Maybe this is it right here. There we go. This may do what we want to do. And as I was saying here, so let it clear up a little bit. So clearly we have a bridge here. In all likelihood, I can only assume that that bridge has been destroyed. But again, once these lines press forward, Russians are able to cross, and they're just going to continue to shore up their ability to conduct operations against Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, and other targeted smaller towns and villages in the eastern Donbass area of operations. Continue to hear about, again, the possibility of this Ukrainian counterattack. I think at this point it's a lot of bluster and talk from the Ukrainian side. I just don't see at this point the Ukrainians having that capability, given what has happened through the course of the conflict. But who knows? We could see something. And then again, towards Kharkov, we continue to see the Russians attempting some minor advances, and then the Ukrainians continuing to put up fairly stifling resistance in this area. And it's not a lot going on in terms of the changing of territory and the capturing of territory by the Russians. We continue to see the Russians pounding areas near Kharkov, and just not Kharkov, really everywhere along the line of contact, to include targets deeper inside of Ukraine. But again, not a lot in terms of the disposition and the changing of territory. Just for giggles, we'll kind of go in and see, since July 1st, what things have kind of looked like. So I'm back to June 30th, and we'll just speed forward. And we've seen this before. We've seen the moose head or the camel head pocket that collapsed possibly the destruction of those Ukrainian units in that pocket. And then again, the question ultimately is the Russian military in somewhat of a quasi-tactical pause at this point? Difficult to say. It looks like that may be the case to a certain extent, and then obviously preparations internally inside of Russia continue for a possible renewed large-scale offensive push into Ukraine. And is that going to be totally focused on the Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Bakhmut area of operations, or could we see an expanded area of operations by the Russians targeting other areas along the line of contact? I gravitate more towards, at this point, in order for the Russians to be successful, another offensive area of operations is going to have to be opened up by the Russians in order to see any sort of real success. But the deep strikes continue, as do the heavy artillery attacks along the line of contact. But we are going to continue to monitor, report, and bring you content for your consumption. Thanks again for joining us. More to come very, very soon. Have a good day.